name is B. Williams. First, I'd like to give honors to the Most High, the Father, the Creator of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I like to say, I stand with the rainbow, for the rainbow, under the rainbow. This is the first covenant that was given to Noah and his descendants when they came off the ark. This is the same covenant, same pillar that was with Moses and the children of Israel as they left out the land of Egypt. Does our Father change? I think not. If it was the covenant for Noah, it was the covenant for the children of Israel. And it's the covenant for us today. You're supposed to follow the laws and the commandments. That's what this covenant stands for. And we're going to prove that here today. We have some people out there that have some issues. Not my issues, their issues. So we're going to see if we can handle up on some of their issues. And if this don't clarify some of their issues, then there's not much that will clarify some of their issues. Alright, we want to get down to the bottom of your Yahweh and Yahweh and all these different names. We want to expose them for who they are. We want to talk about that Dead Sea Scroll and let people know what it is about. Our Father told us not to bow to wood or stone. That includes gold, silver, copper, brass, iron. That's what it includes. These things are also considered stone. People can't understand that. I understand it very clearly. It is what it is. You cannot change the facts to meet what you want it to meet. The facts of these things was used for, are stones used for weapons or possessions of certain materials. Gold buys you this and gets you that. Iron makes bullets and swords. It does good at the same time. Don't get me wrong on that. They can do good or they can do evil. Understand word, sound, power. Alright? This Yahweh, this business, your Dead Sea Scrolls, hate to tell people this, because they built their hopes on them, are not original. We was enslaved, how many times? 7 times? By 7 different nations? People can't understand what's really going on. Every time we was enslaved, alright, we had somebody over us. That somebody that was over us would dictate this and dictate that, which we would have to abide by, causing us to forget little by little. Now we're trying to gain it back little by little. Okay, so let me see if I can turn off this light here. That might be too bright. Alright, on the screen here I have the 2 calves. You see the moon, the stars, and then there's a head calf on top of that. Now I want y'all to remember this, especially that 3, that image there of that 3, as you can see it there. Find my pointer here and we'll be right at it. That image right here of this 3, right here. Alright, I want y'all to remember that, because it goes back to your Dead Sea Scrolls and Yahweh and these names that's being called out. It goes back to Kabbalah. Yes, it does. And we're going to start this program off, and we're going to read in Exodus. We're going to start off in Exodus. And we're going to start off in Exodus 1. And we're going to start at verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generations. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it came to pass that when they were fallen out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. All right. Now, you can continue to read there, but I want to stop there for a second. And I want to go to Psalms. Psalms 83. I know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Psalms 83. We're going to start off at verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty, remember, wisely. Now we got crafty counsel against thy people, and consult against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now we want to know who did this, people. We want to know who did this. We're going to run back real fast, and we're going to go to Genesis. We're running into Genesis real fast, and we're going to, I think it's 38, or 36, I'm sorry. Okay? In 36, who did Esau marry with? Did he not marry in with the Egyptians? Did he not marry in with them? Where you can read about this. I don't feel like going through this whole thing with you, all right, because we don't have time. All right? Now I'm going to just start off at verse 1. I'm going to start off at verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wife of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Ahuleabah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zephaniah, the Hivite. Now I want y'all to know something. All these Yahs at the end. Yah was there. It was the worship of Yah there. Now, you can continue to read on this. All right? And it'll tell you who Esau married into. Now, we go back to Exodus 1 and 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt. Well, I wonder how that is. We can already track it back to Genesis 36. And we can move it up if we have to. But one should be able to do their own homework, their own study. Why should I have to go and show every little bitty thing? Because then you tell me I'm boring. So why don't you go study for oneself? All right, so we go back in here in Genesis 36, all right, and 1, we start our verse 2, Adinah, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, and Aluhabama, the daughter of Aniah, all right, and you can just keep on going. There's more to this story than what's being said. All right. So we know that Esau married in with what we would call the Egyptians. All right. At this time, the Egyptians were dark-skinned people before Esau married in. And even after Esau married in, it took years for this to reveal itself. Now we get to, and we can read about this because you find out that what Judah did, who he married, who he had children with, and you can move up and you will find this yourself, people. All right. Now, once again, we go back to Exodus 1:8. And there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. All right. Now, there's more to that. All right. Now, Joseph died. Right? Is this the same Joseph that we read in Genesis chapter 37? That we're going to verse 3. Now Jacob loved Joseph more than all his children. Now, Israel, whose name is Israel? Jacob. Who named Jacob Israel? A mighty angel that he wrestled with, that it was ordained for him to give him that name, Israel, the name of his father. Zion. Y'all don't understand that. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age. He made him a coat of many colors. Of what? Many colors. Uh-oh. Stop your grinning and drop your linen. What in the world is B. Williams talking about now? Oh, boy. All right. Now, I want y'all to remember that. He had a coat made of many colors. Okay? I'm going into the book of Jubilees. Book of Jubilees. And I'm going to go to, I'm going to do this easy and fast. I'm going to go to chapter 22. And I'm starting with verse 18. You can read the rest yourself. They have no heart to understand, and their eyes do not see what their works are, and how they go astray by saying to a piece of wood, you are my God, and to a stone, you are my Lord, and you are my deliverer, because the stone and wood have no heart. All right. Now this was told to Jacob from his father before he died. And we know that Jacob's name was turned to what? Israel. And we know that Israel loved Joseph and made him a coat of many colors. And we know that Joseph had his coat of many colors when he was in the land of Egypt. The Egyptians stole your knowledge, Israel, and gave you new names to call upon. This new king it talks about in Exodus, this new king is a mixed king between Edom and Egypt. And we can trace that back if we got to. But I don't have time. Let's go on here. Now we done read some scriptures and we still got a lot to do. Okay? Let's go here real fast. I want y'all to listen to this.
Interview with Professor Geza Vermesh, who was emeritus professor at Oxford University until he died recently. and had the privilege of spending an afternoon with him. And I kept on asking him, perhaps a little presumptively, questions that I've asked other Dead Sea Scrolls scholars and got negative replies. And to his credit, his replies invariably were, we just don't know. He didn't try and flannel, make up some answer. The sort of questions I was asking him, and if you'd asked your friends, the people you inquired about what they knew about the Dead Sea Scrolls, questions like, who was the plant of righteousness? Who was the teacher of righteousness? Teacher of righteousness is assumedly the person who led the very peculiar priestly, celibate, devout community to Qumran, about 130 BCE, led them there. He's named and described in great detail in the sectarian scrolls, but no one really seems...
Yeshua. People. Yahiashai. People. See, this guy was supposed to live during the time of Moses, between Moses and Joseph. All right, people. This guy would have had to live in that time period. And right here, we're finding that this guy would have led the people astray to worship wood and stone. Listen, people. I want you to see these three images on the screen here. They're very important. Very important. I just showed you the same image with the calves. I want you to look at this, the Muslim one here. I want you to take a good look at it. I want you to imagine that as being an eye. Okay, an eye of an owl. And we're going to take it farther than that. But I want you to imagine that for me right now. All right? Have you ever heard of the golden calf? See, this means Yahweh. All right? The golden calf, on top of its head, it has two horns. And in the center of the two horns, it has a ball. This is representing the same thing. Going around. Here, there's the ball, there's the star. This here, I have a picture of it in our skies on one of my vids. It was something that had a ring around it, and it was a ball of light, of fire. People, wake up. See what they are doing. See how your glory has been stolen and is being used against you. Let's keep on going. All right, look at the three images, though. Pay attention.
To have an answer as to who he was, because he's certainly described as a person of great significance at the time, Second Temple period, and of high priestly status. Who was the plant of righteousness? Who was the wicked priest? Why did they celebrate festivals at different times for the rest of the community? Why did they follow a solar calendar? Everyone else around them was following a lunar solar calendar. These are the sort of questions that I was putting to Gaze Vermesh, and he was saying, well, we just don't have a really good answer. And that is unfortunately the case for dozens and dozens of puzzles, including things like the so-called New Jerusalem scroll, the Temple scroll, which are major, almost complete scrolls found in some of the caves in near Qumran. We have full translations of those scrolls, but they don't seem to be understood at all, because there are anomalies that no one is prepared to face up to.
Just while I think of it, now you mentioned at the top of the hour a bit about your background and how you got into this. Have you caught any flack for quote unquote not being qualified?
not being qualified in the sense that I'm not an academic and I'm not a historian, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a professional archaeologist, and I'm not, I would suppose, what they would call a historian. But in that venue, in that area, none of them are qualified in terms of numeracy, or very few of them, or material technology, which I am. And most of these scrolls require a technical knowledge, which, by virtue of the nature of people who go into theology and religious studies, are on the arts side. They're theoretically, they're artistically inclined. They're not scientists. And I don't think they've had the rigorous scientific training that engineers and scientists have had. So I resent and reject any comment that I'm not qualified. That doesn't mean very much to me, frankly. And when I consult and confront people, invariably they back down because they have no argument against the sort of theories that I'm putting forward. In fact, it's quite frustrating that very few of them have, dare I use the word dare, have dared to challenge me. They stand...
Challenge him. Challenge him because, like we said, like he's saying, all right, and like I'm trying to tell you, Yehoiashai, would it had to be in the second temple? Would it had to be in the time of Joseph? Would it had to been in the time of Moses? In between those two times, all right, in between them, all right. When the new Pharaoh came along and said, "Let's take a wise, let's go let's go wisely against them," and they took up crafty. All right, wouldn't, if they're gonna take up a crafty thing against us, wouldn't they change our leaders or give us the leaders they want us to have, and also give them money, give them gold, give them silver, give them brass, give them copper? People, wake up.
Having said that, I do have a lot of support from very high-profile academics and scholars outside the field, particularly in non-religious areas, and the French scholars are well ahead of their Western American scholars in understanding the significance of Egypt in the whole equation. Egypt doesn't seem to be a factor that they're prepared to even consider. One very high-profile professor, Professor Harold Ellens at Michigan University, is foursquare behind my ideas and has come out and written that what I'm saying is basically very, very tenable.
There's been...
Now, did you hear what he just said? Four squares behind him. All right, that's one square behind another. Where did we see this image at before, my people? Let me think.
Many great discoveries have been made by non-academics, non-professionals, in physics or chemistry, by people who weren't physicists or chemists. But I mean, I'm very interested in archaeology generally, particularly what's termed alternative archaeology, i.e., disputing, the conventional wisdom about certain things. And having interviewed quite a few archaeologists, professional and amateur, I know that it can be really quite vicious what goes on in trying to protect the status quo. You mentioned Egypt, and that we should turn to that next, I think, because since I started looking into the Dead Sea Scrolls, that's the biggest revelation for me, was how it reorientates so many things away from Jerusalem and or Israel towards Egypt and takes it back further in time.
Absolutely, and it was the Copper Scroll which I worked on first of all, and in 1999 I brought out a book called The Copper Scroll Decoded, and I brought up an expanded version of that, The Mystery of the Copper Scroll of Qumran, and there
a copper scroll, well, what did our forefather Abraham tell his son? Be aware of these things. You understand that, people? And his son's name turned to Isaiah. And Isaiah had sons, and one of his sons, named by Joseph, he made a coat of many colors, and he gave it to him. Now, this coat of many colors that he gave to him was also went with Joseph into the land of Egypt. But what happened to it after he died? People. Because we know there was a new king, a mixed king, a new mixed breed of people being placed in Egypt at that time. They was brightening up themselves, if one may say that.
Decipher Greek letters within the scroll, within the Hebrew text, as reading Akhenaten. And that led me to Egypt, directly to Egypt. And a lot of other pointers led in that direction.
So you mean inside the scrolls, they're supposed to be written in Hebrew, but not Hebrew. It was written in square Hebrew. That means the modern day Hebrew writings, which is also false. Once again, let me say that again. False. So that's going to hurt a lot of Torah readers. Where did they get their information from? This square Jewish writings. They got it from the Ethiopians, the Geese. We ain't even went there yet, baby. Not at all. But we're about to.
And it's quite, I don't know, frustrating, exasperating almost, that very few scholars seem to be prepared to follow that pointer. It's a huge signpost. You know, Egypt is glaring. Egypt was right next to Israel, and it was the dominant, most advanced civilization in the Middle East at the time. And you could not expect it not to have a huge influence on Canaan, on Israel, and on the material that comes into the Bible. And of course it did. And once people took on board the fact that the name of this very important pharaoh, who actually took Egypt into a form of monotheism in the 14th century BCE, in the 18th dynasty, about 1350 BCE, he expounded a form of monotheism, pure monotheism, which he imposed, if you like, on the whole of Egypt. So there was a track record for Egypt being a pioneer in coming to the idea of one God. And I think Jacob and Joseph were there with him. And I think Joseph was his vizier, which the Bible almost spells out pretty clearly. And once those kind of factors are taken into account, a huge amount of problems in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Bible become clear.
Where would that pharaoh have got his...
People, there we go. Now, B. Williams hadn't seen this all the way through. Now, I'm learning this with you. B. Williams do my studying, and I learn from you, people, as I read. I learn from you. As you put questions up, as you give me comments, as you put out vids, I watch and I learn and I think. I don't agree with nobody 100%. Nobody. And neither should you. I'm not asking nobody to follow me. I'm telling you to find the rainbow, find out what that means for yourself. But you can't understand that. Come out of her. The first covenant was given to us. That's the same covenant we came out of Egypt in. It didn't change. That's a lie. It did not change. That's what they want us to believe. Be like Eve. If you be like Eve, you praise Lord. The lion den's getting fired up, people.
Inspiration from, I mean, one God? I mean, does that just come to you in a dream, or is it from some other tradition, from some? I mean, just where would that come from?
I can't answer that absolutely, and I don't think anyone really can. We're talking about 3,350 years ago. But if you study the religion of Egypt and the way the whole panoply of pagan gods were sort of developed, with one top god, Ra, who was invariably the number one, who everyone referred to. And I think you can see an edging towards an idea over several generations. The Amenhotep regime, his father and his grandfather, were coming towards the idea that, okay, if there's a problem, it's resolved by the top god. He rules. He dictates what the situation will be. So they must have decided, well, why do we need the other gods then? If the top god can make that decision, let's get rid of all the other gods. And that idea, I think, moves towards the idea of monotheism and one god. It wasn't my original breakthrough, if you like. Sigmund Freud
It runs you into the tabernacle man. Go back and check your history. He had a golden head, all right, horns, and a ball of fire between his horns. This takes you back to the gods of Abraham's father, Sarah. Are you catching this, people? All right, which he was the high priest for Nimrod. All right. Not only the high priest for Nimrod, he also was the high priest for the Egyptians at a time. Are we understanding each other, people? This is going to take you back into Kabbalah. All right? It's going to take you back into some mysteries that was written on stone. People, wake up. Now, you can watch more of that on your own. I want to go someplace real fast. All right. If we look here, we can see this cow right here with the horns and the ball of fire in between the head. You can see this here, the Egyptians, how the Kabbalists they was teaching in here. All right. And you can scroll down and see a lot of different other images. All right. Once again. All right. This goes all back to something they stole. Something that was stolen from us. Something that was stolen from Adam and Eve. That the Most High gave to us. Take back your glory. See what else I had here? Okay. The Copper Scrolls. Lost treasures of the Copper Scrolls. The Copper Scrolls is part of the extraordinary catch of the 1st century documents first discovered in cave at Qumran, properly known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Copper Scroll, however, is very different from the other documents in the Qumran library. In fact, it is so anonymous among the Dead Sea Scrolls, its authors, scribes, style, language, in general content, and medium all different to the other scrolls, that scholars believe it must have been placed in the cave at a different time to the rest of the ancient documents. As Professor you can read on. Let's see if I can get down here. All right, and this was found in 1955. Okay, that's when it was found. And it points out where you can find a lot of treasure, gold and silver. Gold and silver. Well, isn't this the same thing that Abraham warned his son about? People, you can look it up yourself. It's called the lost treasure of the copper scroll. See, when our people went into captivities, the people who was in charge would make leaders for us, put leaders in authority for us. These leaders they put in authority for us would be like what you would call Reverend Jacksons, Martin Luther Kings, the people you have today that is working within their system. All right, to keep the people subdued, to give the people what they want, so they think. Same thing. I know we out of time. My name is B. Williams, and let's see if we're gonna go ahead and get on out of here.